There's a laundromat on Maple Street that stays open after dark, where I spent 100 Tuesdays watching clothes spin circles through the glass. I used to keep my phone beside me, convinced it might still light up, like silence was a temporary thing and not the truth becoming fact. Outside the parking lot, reflected neon in the rain. Inside, strangers folding memories I knew nothing about. And somewhere between the humming machines and the midnight weather rolling through town, I realized I'd spend more time waiting than I ever spent living. Your name had become a habit, a hallway I walked without thinking, a locked room inside my chest that I kept visiting long after the house was empty. Some people leave all at once, some leave inch by inch. The hardest goodbyes unspoken, they're discovered in the quiet. Learning to be alone felt like standing in a field after the fire. Nothing familiar left to touch, nothing left to call desire. But the ashes held a lesson the flames could never show. Learning to be alone was learning how to grow. There was an old coffee mug still sitting on the highest shelf. I kept it there for months, like preserving it could preserve something else. Funny how grief hides itself inside ordinary things. A jacket hanging by the doorway, a second plate no one needs. I thought healing would arrive like sunlight breaking through a storm. Instead it came in small decisions, taking different roads home. The first weekend I didn't check if you'd somehow changed your mind. The first photograph I kept without wishing to rewind time. And one morning by the river, watching leaves drift with the current, I noticed they never argued with the direction they were going. That's when the truth found me, not loudly, just enough. Some chapters unabandoned, they're simply finished. Learning to be alone felt like standing in a field after the fire. Nothing familiar left to touch, nothing left to call desire. But the ashes held a lesson the flames could never show. Learning to be alone was learning how to grow. For years I confused loneliness with the absence of another soul. But loneliness was never the empty chair, it was forgetting I was whole. A tree doesn't question winter, the ocean doesn't beg the tide, and healing doesn't happen by refusing what's already died. The moon still crosses dark skies without apologizing for the night. Maybe strength isn't becoming fearless, maybe it's walking forward despite it. Learning to be alone wasn't the ending, I believe. It wasn't punishment or failure, it wasn't being left behind to grieve. It became quiet mornings, open roads and clearer views. A life no longer measured by who I had to lose. Now the silence feels different, not empty, simply free. Learning to be alone It won't find who I was before, because learning to be alone opened every locked door.